Okay, so we're back again, and we are going to talk about guilt, specifically in this case, epilepsy slash seizure guilt. But I feel like guilt kind of goes along with anybody that has the chronic illness. I feel guilty for my migraines and my mental health too, so I feel like that happens pretty much any diagnosis you have. So we put out a poll asking people if they feel guilty, and 71% of people said yes. And they all had various reasons. But one of the biggest ones was seizure guilt, was apologizing for seizures. I do it. I think you do it.
I do it. I mean, you've heard me do it on the phone with my mom. I'm like, sorry. And she's like, why?
Yeah, and it's like I've had
Just
people
because.
apologize that they didn't answer messages, text messages, blah, 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 because they had a seizure. Um, and I don't know why we feel guilty, honestly, because I think we're supposed to feel like, we have deadlines to meet somehow, I guess I can say, things we need to do throughout the day, but sometimes they just don't happen.
Like, I can say that I have like lazy or procrastination or like I didn't get this done guilt because I don't feel great and I'm laying in bed, or I'm not feeling too great and I'm laying in bed and the next day I feel worse and I'm like, well, I should have done this yesterday when I felt better.
Yeah, and I get that. Or if I need to take time for myself, I feel like, oh, well, I didn't, answer this text message. I didn't respond to this person. I didn't, in my case, post on Instagram something. But I also tell everyone every single time they apologize to me not to apologize to me. So I'm kind of being hypocritical about it. But
Yeah, that's me all the time. I'm like, you don't need to apologize, and here I am going, sorry, sorry, sorry. I apologize for apologizing. Like I have like apology guilt, I
yeah,
think.
I do too. I feel bad for feeling bad. I guess it's
Yeah.
weird.
Or
And then
people are like, don't apologize, and then I keep apologizing for apologizing.
I, And another thing I personally feel bad about is I'm 30. I live under my mom's roof still because I have to, not because I want to. Sorry, mom. But she has to help me with everything. She has to drive me places, give me the doctor's appointments, make sure I'm okay after, I do or don't have a seizure, worry about me constantly, accommodate me, like all that crap. She's exhausted. We fight
Yeah.
because she's exhausted. So, that's a big one. People say they feel like a burden on their
Yeah.
families. I felt like that. Um, I feel
Like
like, it'd be easier if I didn't have what I have, or if they didn't have to deal with me, I guess you can say.
I felt that. I feel like because my mom, my sister, and my dad always drive me everywhere. They have to like if they're the ones, who are home that day, they have to rearrange their schedule if I need to go somewhere. Or like I have what I call like waiting around guilt. Like I'm like, oh, I'll just be in for 5 minutes. Or I have an appointment that shouldn't take too long, or it ends up taking 45 minutes, and they're just sitting in the car waiting for me.
Yeah,
Then I felt bad because I've wasted so much more time out of their schedule.
hmm and it's like I feel like when I go places with people, they need to be mindful not only of just like going to the store. They have to think like, oh, if she has a seizure here, it's gonna be on concrete or it's gonna be on asphalt or something like that. And it's like they have to worry about that just as much as we do, I
I
think,
call
because
it like,
then they're
yeah,
responsible if
I
they
call
take
it like
places.
babysitter guilt because I feel like
Yeah,
almost
care.
like not that I'm a child, but I feel like you know how you always have to watch the children you're with to make sure they're not getting hurt. It's like that.
Mm-hmm. And it's also just because my meds just make me dumb sometimes. Like I'll do stupid things, say stupid things, wander, get lost. Like people literally have to watch me, like you said, like I'm a toddler sometimes.
Yeah,
I just I just go everywhere. And it's like
yeah.
same with, dating. You feel guilty because you can't do like 50-50, I guess you can say. You kind of need someone to take care of you to
Or not only that, but like, hey, I need you to pick me up. Hey, I need you to drop me off. Hey, I
yeah.
need this to happen.
Or it's like you feel guilty about what you can and can't do. Like, some people it's like, well, why don't you work? And you're like, oh, well, shit, like,
Yeah.
that's awkward. I feel like crap and guilty that I can't work because I'm 30,
Like, yeah, I call it mad at myself guilt that I'm unable to do what people my age should be doing. Or like, again with the dating, like, oh, do you want to go get a drink? And I almost feel bad that I have to say, oh, well, I can't drink.
I'm boring. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And the other thing I guess I feel really bad about is people that have to actually deal with the seizure, because I don't have to deal with that. I wake up and I've had a seizure, and, the end type of thing. I have to worry about
Yeah.
recovering, but everyone has to worry about, make sure I don't die, to be honest. Like, I don't hurt myself severely. I don't need to go to the hospital, something like that. That's not on me. That's on
Right.
somebody else.
My seizure types are different, but at the same time, it's still like, you've seen me, I have to ask my mom, like, hey, does it look like I had a seizure? Because sometimes I can't tell with the kind that I have. And it's like, hey, does it look like I had a seizure? Hey, am I acting like I've had a seizure? Like, she constantly has to be thinking about that. Like, how long it was, how many times I've had them in an hour in case I need my emergency meds. Then she has to deal with high emergency med grace instead of just out of it seizure grace.
Oh my God. And like, I mean, for me, I'm lucky. I have really great health insurance from my mom, so bills are completely covered for me. But if we can't work full time, how the hell are we gonna pay for our bills? How are we gonna pay for our meds without help? You can't. And so you start to feel bad because you're constantly asking for help, for like handouts, for favors and stuff like this. And it's not like you want to do that, but
Right.
like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. And then, like, not having independence. Like, I'll always have to live with someone else, which means I'll always have to have someone else that I'm asking for rides, have someone else that I'm asking, for help with, like, can you take me to the store? Can you do this for me? And it's not necessarily that I can, pay them back the way that,
Yeah,
like, I can give them gas money, but it's still taking their time.
but you
And,
can't
like,
jump in half ride and be like, are you tired of driving? Like, I got the rest of the way. Like, we can't do that.
right. Unless everyone wants to die, but.
Depends on the day. No, I'm just
Right.
kidding. But like, the other thing, I guess, back to the dating thing, I feel guilty on is if you do the whole, oh, you got to meet the parents, got to meet the friends thing. It's like, well, we had to meet her on her terms and type of thing, like, if she's feeling well, what we can do to introduce her type, my friends, oh, yeah, we can hang out, but she can't go here. Not me personally, but like photosensitive people. It's like, oh, yeah, we can go to a concert, but I can't do this or do that or go here or do this, type of thing. That makes you feel like
Yeah.
crap that you're ruining everybody else's day when,
And
you're
even
really
that,
not.
like, how uncomfortable it probably is, like, on a first date, how if I go to somewhere else, someone else's place, I'm probably just meeting them and their roommates. If someone comes to my house, it's literally meet the entire family.
Yeah, like my poor boyfriend, the first time he came over, he got the full entourage of my family, mom, brother, sister. And, I was like, well, like, I feel bad. I have to put you in that situation. So there's that guilt, but it's like, at the same time, I can't help it. I don't live in,
Right.
an epilepsy box in my cul-de-sac. I can't do that. So I don't know. I feel like we all go through that. I feel a lot of people. There's a couple people that did say no, and I'm very glad that people did say no. I will say it. Sadly, only 29% of people said no, but at least more than one said no, and that's good, because that means you realize it's not your damn fault.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see that, because I still have problems personally coming to terms with the fact that I didn't do this to myself.
Yeah, me too. And I still feel like it's not my fault that it's this way, and it's not my fault that it is the way it is, and that I have to ask people for what I have to ask. And like, so much of it, even the mental health part, like, I feel bad about my mental health. I feel bad. Like, I have anxiety, and I'm like, I know I shouldn't have anxiety. Like, I feel bad that I have anxiety, and I'm constantly going up to people, well, what if this happens, then this happens? But it's like, but it's not my fault, and I can't help it. Same with seizures. Like, you shouldn't apologize for having a seizure when it's not your fault, and
No,
there's nothing you can do
not
about
like
it.
sitting there popping oxycodone, being like, seizure, seizure, seizure. If you're doing that, I have no effing sympathy for you. But
Yeah.
like, this isn't, you didn't cause it. Someone in the universe decided to give you a special sprinkle on your cake. That's all it is. So,
Same with, like, migraines. Like, I apologize all the time for getting sick with migraines, for feeling crappy with migraines, for laying in bed all day because I can't, leave my dark room.
yeah, I
Or,
feel
like,
bad
I
for
don't respond to texts because I've had a seizure, I've had a migraine, and I feel like shitty for that, but I shouldn't. It's
my
not.
big one is I have to apologize and feel guilty for my shitty mood swings. I lose it sometimes, no reason, and I feel bad at the end of it after I've blown up and slammed a door and maybe punched a wall or something, but and cried. But in the moment, I can't help it. Sadly, I'm trying. I'm on meds for it, but it's part of it, and that's the part that people ignore about epilepsy. It's not just seizures. It screws your entire freaking brain up.
And not just you, but it affects everyone around you. And I think that's the biggest guilt thing, is that when you get this diagnosis, it's not just you. It's like your entire family, all of your friends. All of a sudden, it affects everyone in your life. And I think that's like I would say like one of the biggest shocks that like when I was diagnosed was like, holy shit, my life now affects everyone else's that I'm close to. Like, I can't go hang out with a friend without bothering my mom to take me to them, or them having to pick me up, or something like that. And then there's the I just had it on my head, seizure brain. Oh, like, because I went 17 years before I was diagnosed. So now I look back and I'm like, okay, well, now I realize why I was in such a shitty mood all the time. And then I have guilt for like being that way, even though we didn't know why it was happening. And I have guilt, like, why didn't I know? Kind of thing.
And I have guilt sometimes. I'm like, why? What am I doing wrong that this could be better? Which is stupid, but I feel like everyone has those irrational thoughts of like, well, why me? What did I do to do this? Why? All that fun stuff that goes.
But again, like, if you're taking your meds the way your doctor tells you to, if you're doing what you can to listen to what everyone is telling you to do to help, like, it is not your fault. If you're sitting there not taking meds, being like, well, why me? Why, like, is this happening? Well, again,
double fisting alcohol, it's like, I wonder why it's you, dude. I wonder why it's you. So, I mean, I guess like we can end it by saying, like, I think majority of us, definitely not all of us, feel very guilty about this because it's out of our control, but we shouldn't. And I'm not gonna sit here and say like, don't feel guilty, because like that's like me saying don't have a seizure, like it doesn't happen like that. But I guess we can just try to work on it, I guess, and realize that we all have it, and in this community, not everyone in the freaking world, but and it's not something we've asked for. So
I was gonna say, even writing out the notes for like what kind of guilt I feel, I was like, I'm guilty. I feel guilty for all these things, and some of them you look at and it's funny, like, why do I feel guilty for that?
Yeah, and it's like, I have like 16 bullet points in front of me right now, and I'm like, wow, like I basically feel guilty for existing. That's bad. That's bad.
So at least, like, thinking about it, like, at least I'm recognizing I shouldn't feel guilty for these things.
Yeah, and no one really should. So I guess that's it. If you feel guilty, like, for other things, just realize it's not your fault. And I would recommend journaling, therapy, talking to other people, like we all
even writing down a list of what you feel guilty for, and then maybe looking at it and be like, I'm dumb. Why do I feel guilty for that?
Yeah, it's like I would recommend that. But I think that's it for this week. I know that was a big topic that people were bringing up, but I think we covered everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Alrighty. So we will see you next time when we get bored. So see you later.
Bye.